I'm asking for information. I'm not expecting you to do anything, and I think you're taking this a little bit personally, and it sounds somewhat defensive.
Look, honestly, I'm not taking it personally. I think that you've obviously called us to vent. You say that you understand that there's nothing we can do for you. So
Exactly.
I understand why you've made this phone call.
So, I'm asking, why am I being redirected back to you guys?
G'day people. This is just a sort of an introduction to this clip. Since August last year, 2015, I've been trying to get some sort of accountability towards a man by the name of Selwyn Haworth, or Haworth, whatever you're going to call him, the prick that was acting as the JP and during the defended hearing that I attended for the police back in May. Now, Selwyn Haworth basically had, because after the hearing I requested the court transcripts. The court transcripts were in the hands of Selwyn Haworth for at least 2 months. They finally got released to me because what I had done is I had filed a complaint against his dishonourable actions, his threats, his intimidation inside the courtroom on the day. And I filed that initially with the Judicial Conduct Commissioner. Now, after a back and forwards emails with the Judicial Conduct Commissioner, they responded that they basically, as Parliament's wishes for the justices of the peace that are presiding over minor criminal convictions or criminal offences and minor cases in New Zealand, they are exempt from the Judicial Conduct's jurisdiction. Okay, so there's no point complaining to the Judicial Conduct Commissioner about a Justice of the Peace. They have no jurisdiction over it. They only have jurisdiction over judges. Now, to clarify, because I've had discussions with, say, other government departments, perhaps New Zealand Land Transport Agency, asking them what kind of person they think I am, for instance. And if anybody understands what I mean by the term person, they'll know that there is at least 5 to 6 different types of persons within legislature. It's not a man or a woman. So what I did was I got confirmation from the Judicial Conduct Commissioner 8-9 months ago, or it might have been 7 months ago, that only a natural person can be appointed a judge. So clearly there is more than just one type of person. According to the New Zealand Land Transport Agency, the non-legally trained person there that was emailing me seems to think there's only just a person, that legislation doesn't define it further. Well, Tia, sweetheart, you're wrong. But anyway. Moving on. So, after having this email with the Judicial Conduct Commissioner, they then suggested if I had to file a complaint against Selwyn, who was acting as a Justice of the Peace, that I contact the JP Federation of New Zealand, which I did. The JP Federation of New Zealand replied back saying that they also have no jurisdiction over the matter, because apparently the Justices of the Peace in Auckland have their own club, which is called the Auckland JP Association. Now, I filed a complaint with the Auckland JP Association. Apparently it went through the complaints committee, which consists of a married couple and one other guy, so 3 people. As far as I was aware, Roger Brooks, who has since resigned as the registrar for the Auckland JP Association, Roger Brooks has stated that the committee viewed and they find that there was no, inappropriate conduct or whatever it was. I got no explanation, no nothing. All I got was asked for permission to allow the Selwyn Haworth and also Ron Cave, who was the second JP sitting that day, to be able to see the complaint that I'd made against them, which I gave, and I've heard no responses, nothing since. I wanted to know what they had to say in return. No one's telling me nothing. So basically they've just taken the complaint and swept it under. Now, at no time between sort of August and October had Roger pointed out that Selwyn Haworth, our buddy, happened to be the vice president of the Auckland JP Association at the time, and I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks after the complaint that I made had been judged upon unfairly, in my point. And I do have the numbers of the 3 people that were on the committee, and I will be contacting them at my own leisure to ask them how they came to their conclusion. So just bear that in mind, Mr. and Mrs. Walker. So I spoke to Roger. Roger then reveals to me, because I wasn't happy with that, of course I spoke to him, I emailed him multiple times, I've got lots of emails, asking him how they came to that conclusion. No answer, just the old, we've finished dealing with this matter, that's that. If you're not happy, you need to complain to someone else. So they then told me to go and to complain to the New Zealand JP Association, which apparently they fall under the purview of. Okay, so I spoke to an Alan Hart. Apparently there was a bereavement in the association. Someone died. It's because all of the people in these shit ass places are so fucking old. They're so geriatric and shouldn't be able to fucking judge shit, if you ask me. But anyway, there was a bereavement. Now I can accept it, you've got a funeral to go to, the office could be in dismay because of a loss. Okay, I accepted that. And I accepted that for an excuse. I then waited 10 days, still nothing. So I emailed back, asked him how much time he needed to mourn. I was getting no response. Alan Hart, who is the chairman of the New Zealand JP Federation, then referred me to contact the JCC, the Judicial Conduct Commissioner. Do you see where we're going here? I did a complete 360 circle. I complained to JCC, they sent me to New Zealand JP Federation, which sent me to Auckland JP Association, which then did fuck all but cover their own now president's ass, and then referred me back to step 2 and then back to step 1 again. So I contact the JCC, the Judicial Conduct Commissioner. I speak to a lovely girl, Emma. You're about to hear that phone call.
A couple of times last night that you obviously on the phone. You're
Yeah.
engaged. Now,
It happens a lot with my wife, unfortunately.
Okay. You said that you've got a complaint to make about a justice of the peace. Is that correct?
Well, what I did is, initially, there was a court hearing back in May last year where the JP failed to identify himself. There were quite a few things that I found were quite dishonourable. And I made a complaint to the JCC. They said that it had to be forwarded to the JP Federation. I contacted the JP Federation. They said it had to be forwarded to Auckland JP Association. So then I spent a few months with Roger Brooks, who's now resigned, who was the registrar of Auckland JP Association. The complaint was lodged. Now, Roger at the time never mentioned that he was the vice president of the association, the man I was complaining about. He kept that under wraps, which I find is somewhat biased to begin with. They asked for my permission for the complaint to be forwarded to the JPs in question, which I gave. And then a few weeks later I get told their findings was that he did nothing wrong and that was the end of it. It just felt like it was brushed under the carpet. Now, I wasn't happy with that, so I continually chased Roger to find out the names of the people that were in the complaints committee. Mr. Walker, I believe his name is, and his wife. There was one other person, from what I've found out. I am going to ring them and ask them how they came to that decision if I don't get some sort of response from the system I'm supposed to be complaining to. Now, it feels like I've gone a complete full circle because now I'm back at the Judicial Conduct Commissioner, who doesn't have any authority or jurisdiction over justice of the peace.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
That's what you're about to so in other words, you're about to tell me exactly what I got told 9 months ago when I started all of this.
Did somebody direct you back to us? Is that why you...
Exactly. Well, what's happened is I've spoken to, after having no luck now with Pete Montgomery, who's the new registrar of the Auckland JP, and Alan Hart from the JP Federation, because I was redirected from Pete Montgomery from Auckland's JP Association, from their group to the JP Federation, where I dealt with Alan Hart, and Alan Hart has said because it involves at that court, it's now being forwarded to the Chief District Court Judge, which I believe is Jan Dooge, or Doig.
Right, yeah.
Now, I've just spoken to Carl Lewins from North Shore District Court, well, via email, and he's given me a way that I can contact her directly, because apparently it's now in her hands. But my question was for the Judicial Conduct Commissioner, why am I being referred back to the Judicial Conduct Commissioner, which has got to do with the courts and judges, when it's justice of the peace and Parliament wishes for them to be exempt from it? That's not cool. Not at all. I mean, how do I hold?
I'm going to stop you because
How do I hold Selwyn accountable for his dishonourable actions?
Look, I'm sorry if somebody thought that it was a good idea to refer you back here, but for starters, we would never have told you to make a complaint to this office, because we're very clear on what our jurisdiction is.
Sure, yeah, I've got that in writing.
So I'm sorry if you were told to come back here, and if you feel frustrated that you've...
Oh, I'm very frustrated.
That you're calling this office for the second time in 9 months, but that's not our fault.
Oh, I'm not saying it is.
But you're
I'm not blaming anybody for this.
As to why you were referred back to us, I can't give it to you because being referred back to us is incorrect.
Well, my curiosity is to why would I be referred back to you guys, knowing full well you have no jurisdiction over justice of the peace?
Well, you need to ask the person who referred you back.
I have, and all I get is a response letter saying that they're not having anything more to deal with it, and that that it's now in the hands of the Chief District Court Judge. What do you expect me to be able? What would you like me to say? I don't expect you to be able to do anything. You're just one person that works for the Judicial Conduct. What I expect is some sort of liability or reverse liability where a man who threatened to kidnap me and hold me in court, who ordered me to remove my property from my own website without paying for his orders. He's going to small claims court soon over that one. But this man threatened and intimidated me. He held me under duress in that courtroom for 3 hours. I want to hold the man accountable, and apparently he's, after being the vice president and now the president of the Auckland JP Association, who do I go to get redress over this matter?
Look, I'm going to have to tell you the same thing that you were probably told when you called here previously. I understand that you're upset, but there's no...
I'm not upset.
Wasting both our time acting like there's something I can do about it. There isn't.
I'm asking for information. I'm not expecting you to do anything, and I think you're taking this a little bit personally, and it sounds somewhat defensive.
Look, honestly, I'm not taking it personally. I think that you've obviously called us to vent because you understand.
That's an incorrect presumption.
You say that you understand that there's nothing we can do for you. So
exactly.
I understand why you've made this phone call.
So, I'm asking, why am I being redirected back to you guys?
You shouldn't be redirected back.
So, can someone talk...
To know why, you need to ask the person that directed you here.
Okay. Can you guys not talk to the other person that is doing the obviously incorrect directions and tell him not to? Or is it all up to the complainant, the person making the filing everything to do everything? I mean, do you guys not talk to each other? Are you separate entities?
Well, yeah, we are separate entities.
Okay.
Otherwise we would deal with complaints about justice.
Well, can you explain to me how on the charge sheet it's called a judge-alone trial and there happens to be a JP sitting there at the bench?
No, I can't.
Why? If it says judge-alone trial, what is a JP doing sitting there? I asked for a court of record and I got a court of law.
I don't know.
So...
Well, why don't you speak to a lawyer about it?
I have spoken to many lawyers.
We deal with complaints about judges. Do you have a complaint about a judge or a coroner?
I have a complaint about a judge alone trial.
No, that's not what I asked. Do you have a complaint about a judge or a coroner?
That will depend. That will depend on how that will depend on how Jen Doig deals with the matter at hand.
Okay. Well.
She is a judge. She does fall under your jurisdiction, does she not?
Yes, she
Right.
does.
Okay. So if I find that her actions are improper, then I will be complaining to you about her. Then.
That's fine.
Cool. Okay. So I can understand that you are coming to the presumption that I'm frustrated. I'm not. I'm at the end of my tether trying to seek justice from something that ain't there. And this isn't me venting. Everything I do is on YouTube. I vent perfectly fine on there. And it seems to be that I've spent 4 years learning legislative rules, all of the acts, all of the words. I have my legal dictionaries. I have all of that stuff. I've spoken to many lawyers. And they say, oh, well, that's just the way it is in New Zealand. Their first obligation is to the court, not to me. So why would you ask someone who's betting for the other team a question and expect it? I've had duty solicitors get up and walk out because they don't want to answer a simple question. What happens? Why is this happening? Why can I not get a straight answer? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought these were all rhetorical questions.
Well, no, these are questions that require answers. They're not rhetorical. And
answer for your opinion of the New Zealand justice system. That's completely unreasonable. Now,
is it reasonable to...
Do you have a complaint about a judge or a coroner?
Have I not answered that question already?
Don't have one yet. When you do, feel free to contact this office.
What was your name again?
This is not a good use.
What was your name again, please?
Emma.
Emma. Do you have a last name, Emma?
I do.
Can I have that, please?
And I'm not giving it to you, but I am the only Emma that works in the office of the Judicial Conduct Commission.
Fantastic stuff. Okay. Is there someone I can complain about your attitude on the phone to?
Absolutely.
Who's that?
Get my manager to call you?
Yeah, please do that.
Okay. So you'll be...
Because I'm sorry, your aggressive stance from the start of this phone call that's recorded is unacceptable.
Well, if it's recorded, you'll be able to play it back to him and see what he thinks.
Well, no, I'll put it up on YouTube and send him a link to it.
Super.
Okay, so the answer from JCC is just not our problem, not our jurisdiction. Come and complain to us when there's something about a judge. Is that it? In a nutshell?
Does that not make sense to you?
Oh, of course it makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is the fact that on the charge sheet it says judge alone trial and a justice of the peace is presiding. That doesn't make sense to me.
To a lawyer about that, but in this case, I'll get my manager to give you a call if you stay by the phone.
Oh, I'll be by the phone all day, but I do have dentist appointments to go to. So, I suggest I give you another phone number, actually.
All right. Okay.
Thanks so much, Emma. You have a wonderful day.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I was following direction. She's asking me why. I'm asking her. Why on earth would Alan direct me this way?
Hello.
Hello, is that Mark?
Yes, hello.
Kevin Duffy from the Office of the Judicial Conduct Commissioner.
Gavin, hi, how are you?
Thank you.
Yeah, Mike, I take it, are you familiar with what's happened?
I understand that you think that Emma was rude or cursed with you.
No, she didn't curse at all.
No, sorry, cursed.
Oh, okay.
Sure, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was just, she seemed extremely defensive from the get-go. I was ringing up for information. She's taken it as myself venting, as she put it. And I thought it would only be fair when I'm talking to somebody on the phone to give them an accurate, state of events and let her know what was going on. And she's taken that as venting. I'm pretty sure it's not in your standard procedures for her to berate people that ring. And I don't think I needed to be berated. I explained to her that I'd gone from one step to the other, to the other, to the other, and now I'm back at the JCC again, under the direction of Alan Hart from the JP Federation. And she's saying, well, what do you expect me to do about it? Well, I don't know. That's why I'm ringing.
So who's the judge you want to complain about?
Well, it's not that I'm... That's the whole point. A few months 7 months ago, when I first emailed the Judicial Conduct Commissioner, my whole concern was that I was supposed to have been getting a judge-alone trial, and then find out that the Justice of the Peace is presiding.
So, yeah.
I can't get, why is it called a judge-alone trial? Why am I led to believe in writing that a judge will be presiding, but in fact the Justice of the Peace is, and he doesn't fall under a judge-alone trial's jurisdiction?
So what I'm trying to ascertain is which judge are you complaining to the JCC about?
I am not complaining about any judge at the moment. My complaint is about that if I am supposed to get a judge-alone trial, how is it that I get a Justice of the Peace, and when I exhaust all avenues of filing a complaint through the Justice of the Peace, you know, the Federation and the Auckland Association, that I get directed back to you guys, and I'm well aware that you have no jurisdiction over Justice of the Peace. You made that clear via email 7 months ago.
Yep.
What I don't understand is why JP Federation are telling me to go to you guys. They're telling me that it's now in the hands of the Chief District Court Judge Jan Dooge, and that's fine. I'm wondering, do I need to contact her directly, because it's almost been a month now, and I'm pretty certain I should be getting some sort of update as to what's going on. I know it's been Christmas holidays and whatnot, but end of the day,
I can't answer that, Mark.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with the
JCC.
conduct.
Sure.
Yeah.
I get that. I just don't get why I'm getting led round in circles, and I can appreciate it's wasting your guys' time as well, but I'm not contacting you because I'm doing it out of my own direction. I'm doing it because that's where I'm getting pointed to.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate that the JP Federation pointed you in our direction, but as you're aware, from 7 months ago,
Yeah.
you were told that we don't have, the Commissioner doesn't have
So-
jurisdiction.
So why does it say judge-alone trial? Why doesn't it say Justice of the Peace?
I've no idea. Can't tell you, I'm afraid, Mark.
Because that's deceptive in and itself. I mean, I thought I was getting a court of record. I got a court of law and railroaded.
Okay, well, you know, there's only, what we deal with is complaints about the conduct of judges.
Okay, I'll take that in mind, and if I'm, as I said to Emma this morning, if I'm not pleased with what happens with Jan, or if there's some sort of misconduct there, you guys will be the first to know about it.
Excellent.
Alright, but I'm sorry if I've offended Emma in some way. I hope she, you know, that's my least thing.
Oh, yeah, you know, I'm sure she's probably trying to tell you the same thing that I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, I'm already aware of what you're trying to tell me. Like I say, it boggles my mind as to how come I'm trying to follow the rules and what's written, and it gets all twisted around, you know. It's a criminal, a minor traffic offence is a criminal matter. I mean, I didn't cause any injury to anybody. So where's the victim? Do you know what I mean? There's a difference.
Yeah, alright, well hopefully you'll get a response from the Chief Judge pretty soon.
Well, I hope so. I have actually spoken to Carl Lewins. He's quite happy to forward any correspondence I have directly to her, so at least that's one avenue. So
Excellent.
brilliant.
Well, then, good luck.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
You have a good day. That's all they just kept reiterating. It's nothing to do with us. We can't do anything. Why are you talking to us? Because I'm directed to. You know, if I didn't get an email from Alan Hart saying it's in the court, blah 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 blah, you need to go back and address the Judicial Conduct Commissioner if you have any further concerns. Okay, perhaps that's Alan Hart, one way or another, saying that if I'm displeased with Jan Dooge's results, because it's now in her hands, that I can then go to the Judicial Conduct Commissioner. So that's fine. I mean, I don't care. I'm doing this to try and find out how the hell they all get away with it. I want some sort of reverse liability for what I believe I was wronged.
And Monique, one of the subscribers to my stuff, Monique has really hit the crux beautifully. It's a judge alone trial. Now, in the courtroom that day, I actually held up the charging document. I pointed along with my finger as I read it out, judge alone trial. I asked where there was a judge. Apparently, it's just words. It just says judge alone trial. What it should say is JP alone trial, but it doesn't. It leaves you down that primrose line of thinking, fuck, I'm getting to see a judge. So, just thought I'd give you the update. Bye.